It happens to all of us. You open up your web browser, you type in twitter.com, and you find yourself posting something that you haven't thought through. And suddenly, bam, you've posted cringe. Now, of course, this is normal. Usually you go back and delete the cringe tweet later on, hoping that nobody had ever seen it and no one will ever mention it again. Like that time, one of Ted Cruz's interns liked that 18+ video on Twitter so that everybody could see it. You know, we don't talk about that anymore, but it did happen. Sometimes, though, there are people who post cringe and never stop to think about it, never regret it, and leave it up forever. People so ignorant to their own cringe levels that they literally hurt my brain to read. And Seth Rogen is one of those people. You might know Seth from his acting career. He was in movies like Superbad and Step Brothers, or maybe you know him from his producer roles on movies like Sausage Party, which incidentally was one of the absolute worst movies I have ever seen about living grocery store foods. It was not good, but I digress. Seth has an alter ego, a second love beyond his work in Hollywood. He loves Twitter. The dude is posting more cringe on Twitter than most 13-year-olds I've ever met. He's like an evolved version of a K-pop stan, constantly tweeting things that no one ever wants to read, but he's 30 years old. Actually, he's probably older than 30. I don't know how old he is. Honestly, if you read too many of his tweets, your IQ might just drop by a few points. So let's take a look at Seth's most recent cringe posting rampage. Hey guys, editing MattyO here, just jumping in to remind you to smash that subscribe button and absolutely decimate that like button. And if you've already done those things, remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss whenever I upload. Thanks for doing that. Let's get back to it. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is a response that Seth made to a tweet by famed YouTuber Casey Neistat. You might know who he is. Casey had tweeted out because he was upset that his car had been broken into, and he was saying, "So our cars got robbed this morning because Los Angeles is a crime-riddled third world shithole of a city, but tremendous appreciation and gratitude to the hardworking officers at the LAPD who not only arrested the MFer, but got all of our stolen goods back." Now, I don't know about you guys, but that seems a bit tame to me. I'd be a lot more upset if my car got broken into, even if the cops got my stuff back. They've probably broken a window, making a mess, not to mention you have to fix the window and everything. It's just more work than you ever want. You never want your car broken into. But Seth Rogen, our friend, he seems to think that everyone should expect to have their cars broken into. He responded with, "Dude, I've lived here for over 20 years. You're nuts. Haha, it's lovely here. Don't leave anything valuable in it. It's called living in a big city." To which Casey responded, "I can still be mad though, right? Feel so violated." To which Seth wrote, "You can be mad, but I guess I don't personally view my car as an extension of myself, and I've never really felt violated any of the 15 or so times my car was broken into. Once a guy accidentally left a cool knife in my car, so if it keeps happening, you might get a little treat." Which, what the actual fuck? Let's dissect that entire thing. He says that Casey is crazy for being upset because LA is lovely, and that having your car broken into is just part of living in a big city, which is 100% not true. There are plenty of large cities in America where you can leave your car parked and nobody will break into it. In fact, I know for a fact that there are most of the cities in America you can feel safe leaving your car on the side of the road and nobody's gonna break into it. It's just insane that he rationalizes it like this. Nobody can actually believe that just because you live in a big city that you should deserve to have your car broken into, which is kind of what Seth is saying here in my opinion. Sure, I mean, it's possible your car can be broken into anywhere, but man, California and LA in particular are the epicenter for this kind of thing. It's not really a big city thing so much as an LA thing. There's a lot of things about LA that are not lovely, Seth. I wouldn't move to LA if I could live there for free, to be honest. I wouldn't want to worry about having my car broken into every time I leave it parked, and there's so many other things about LA. It's like the fakest area in the world. And it's honestly, when you compare LA and California to any other big city in America or any other state in America, you realize that it's kind of like a different country. Each city in LA is a little bit different than every other city in America, and I don't know how I can elaborate to explain how the cities in California are different from the cities everywhere else, but I don't know, it just seems like California is really like a different country. But then Casey makes the reasonable response to Seth's kind of weird rant there, asking for some reason if it's okay that he feels mad and violated. I guess he's trying to figure out if Seth is crazy and maybe give him a way out of what he had just said, but Seth doubled down in his response. The fact that he actually had the gall to say, "You can be mad, but I guess I don't personally view my car as an extension of myself, and I've never really felt violated any of the 15 or so times my car was broken into." Bruh, 15 times. 15! Where is he leaving his car? I know it's bad in LA, but he's gotta be exaggerating, right? How does that happen? Is he parking with a big sign strapped to the side of his car that says, "Rob me, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in here"? How do you get your car broken into 15 times? You know, maybe it's because he's rich, but I think that I'd still be pretty upset if my car was broken into. Even if it's been broken into 15 times, I think I'd be upset every single one of those times. I don't really consider my car as an extension of myself, but I do think that it's my property, and when somebody breaks your property, breaks into your property, or steals your property, you should feel a little bit violated. You should be a little mad because that was yours, not theirs. Most people aren't like Seth. We're not rich enough that we can just buy a new car every time somebody breaks into it. For most people, a car is a huge purchase, something to be proud of, and to have that thing attacked is just upsetting, and I don't understand how Seth Seth can say that Casey should not find it upsetting at all. That is just cringe, Seth. I never thought that being upset about having a crime committed against you would be a hot take, but I guess with the people in LA like Seth Rogen, it is. Then he goes on to say, once a guy accidentally left a cool knife in my car, so if it keeps happening, you might get a little treat, which is crazy, right? It goes beyond cringe. It's a little bit unhinged, right? You find a random knife in your car that had been broken into and stuff had been stolen from your car, right? And you keep it? You know, people who break into cars are usually criminals, right? In fact, I don't think you can break into a car without being a criminal. So I'd argue that there's probably a non-zero chance that that knife was being carried by a criminal who had committed a crime using said knife, which means you now have a piece of evidence, and you probably shouldn't be keeping that, because who knows, somebody could have gotten stabbed with that. It's insane to find a random weapon left behind in your car that's been broken into and see that as a normal thing and take it as a gift. I mean, find joy in whatever you really want, but you shouldn't be finding random knives and keeping them, especially when somebody has broken into your car. That's just a little cringe. Then that same day, likely referencing the overwhelming negative response that he got to the tweets we just talked about that he had tweeted, he said, a lot of people come at me and talk shit on Twitter hoping I'll engage with them publicly and give them attention, but instead I DM them and tell them to go fuck themselves privately. It's a lot more fun, which once again is cringe. You know, he's saying that he's not going to engage people publicly and give them attention while engaging people publicly and giving them attention by tweeting this out. And it's also kind of speaks to Seth's character, because instead of ignoring random people on Twitter, this guy takes random people on Twitter that tweet mean things at him and privately DMs them to tell them to fuck off. That's beyond cringe. That's unhinged. You don't need to respond to every single person who says something negative to you. That is literally something that is part of being famous. People are going to criticize you. They're not going to like you. You're going to get mean messages. So why would you care? Why do you care? You can't just respond to everybody with a random anime profile picture on their account and tell them to go fuck themselves, because it's an unwinnable battle, Seth. Unwinnable. It's also just a little crazy. Don't worry though, the cringe doesn't end there. Despite saying that he doesn't engage publicly with his critics in the earlier tweet, just a few days later he tweeted, "We really pissed off tens of thousands of white supremacists with our new show #Santa Inc., which is now available on HBO Max. Please read the responses to this tweet for confirmation." Which, once again, kind of a cringe tweet, mainly because if you just watch the trailer for Santa's Inc., you'll know why nobody liked it. In fact, despite YouTube turning off the dislike button, there have been some extensions made where you can actually view the dislike count, and this video was overwhelmingly disliked. There's some videos that are, you know, they get a little disliked. This one apparently had like 100,000 dislikes, which is a lot, and it's a lot of dislikes because the trailer sucked. Nobody liked the show. The show was bad. I haven't watched the full show, but I did watch the trailer, and based off the trailer, there's no way in hell I would watch the real show, because that trailer was absolutely terrible. So this guy is tweeting out saying that people don't like his stuff, despite earlier on saying that he doesn't engage people publicly about people sending negative stuff to him. He tweets something about people saying negative things about Santa's Inc. and calls them white supremacists for some reason. You don't have to be a white supremacist to dislike a shitty show on HBO. It's just another bit of cringe. Anybody who dislikes me is the worst person that has ever lived, is like, you know, the mantra for these kind of people. And I guess the dude just can't take any criticism at all. I cannot wait for him to get into my DMs and tell me to go pound sand, because honestly, I don't know what I'll say back, but I'm gonna tell him he's being a little cringe. Anyway, what can we learn from Seth's tweets? In my opinion, we can study his Twitter as a prime example of 100% pure, unfiltered, organic cringe. Seth Rogen needs to stop, but if he doesn't, then this could be something that people reference for years while trying to determine if their own tweets are in fact cringe. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and have a great day, and God bless you.